Welcome to Entrepreneurship at Rowan, an official production of the award-winning Rowan Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. We cover the entrepreneurial pulse of Rowan students, faculty, and alumni, prepared to be Rowan proud.
Hello, you're listening to the Entrepreneurship at Rowan podcast. I'm your host, Antonia Nizzolo, and today we are talking with Jeff DeVito of DeVito's Lawn Care. We're going to learn about how he started his lawn care business and glean some wisdom from his entrepreneurial pursuit. I want to know, when was the first time you cut a lawn and were paid for it?
I was a junior in high school. Our neighbor had gone away on vacation, and she asked my mom if I could cut her lawn for her while she was away. I decided to cut it for her, and I charged $25 while she was away on vacation. And I made $25 off her for that, and she asked me to cut it for the rest of the year.
How did you come up with your price at that age? Was it kind of, you just picked a number and ran with it?
I kind of knew what people were charging because my next door neighbor, she had been hiring someone, and somehow, like when I was younger, I knew that she was paying $25 to get her lawn cut. So it was the same size yard, so I decided to charge $25.
So the first lawn that you got, or the first client, that was the mom hookup. But the second and third customers, I'm assuming maybe they were referrals or you had to start like going door to door. So how did you find those customers?
So the second and third customers, they came from a ad that I had made. I printed up an ad on Word. I just put out that I was going to be in the neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood that's around 250 homes. So I just did my block, which is about 40, 45 homes. And I just put an ad in each of their mailboxes, just explaining that I'll be cutting lawns for the remainder of the season. If you need any services, let me know. And I got 2 additional customers that year that were just on my block, people that needed services. And I used my dad's lawnmower and his weed whacker and his leaf blower. And in the beginning, he wasn't too happy because it was his equipment for his yard, but it ended up working out. He didn't mind at the end of the season.
Yeah, you took good care of his stuff. So I love how entrepreneurial you were in just going onto Word and creating an ad like that. I think there's so many excuses that we can build up in our head for like reasons not to do something and go for it. So I'm curious how you were feeling in that moment when you decided to go on Word. Did you have to push yourself to go on and like create that ad and walk around the neighborhood? Or was it something that was just natural to you and you weren't that nervous about it?
I was really excited because I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. When I was younger, in middle school and high school, I used to sell Jolly Ranchers out of my book bag. I used to sell 10 for $1. We used to go to Sam's Club and I used to buy like the 7-pound bag. And my mom would buy it for me. She didn't know I was selling them, but I would
She
sell
just thought
10
you
Jolly
ate
Ranchers.
a lot of Jolly Ranchers.
She just like, he must really like Jolly Ranchers. So I would bring like a Ziploc bag to school and I would sell 10 of them for $1. And I did that for about like 3 years. And so I always hadn't like wanted to like sell something or like have a service to offer. Mm-hmm. I was not nervous at all, no.
Where did that entrepreneurial spirit come from? Was it something you were born with or something your parents or mentor nurtured in you?
I would say it's something I was born with because, I mean, my dad works for a large corporation. My mom, she works at the local middle school. I just always wanted to be involved with business and entrepreneurship in general because after I sold the Jolly Ranchers at school, my brother, he's 8 years older than me, so when I was in middle school, he was like finishing up college-ish and he had moved back home. So I would do his laundry for $10 a week and I'd fold it and put it in his room. And then right after that is when I started cutting lawns. But I always had that want to and drive to have a business or just do something involved with, doing a service for someone and getting compensated for it.
Yeah, it's just natural to you. Very cool. So you have your second and third customers. How do you grow and scale your business after that?
So after that, I was still 16. So my middle brother, he was just towards the end of high school, first year of college. So he went to community college. He would help me put the lawn equipment in the back of my mom's SUV at the time. And we would go around the neighborhood. We had 3 lawns at the end of the season. And the next year, his girlfriend's parents, they lived like 10 minutes across town. They asked me if I could cut their lawn. So now I had 4 lawns, and 4 turned into 5, and 5 turned into 6. And then my brother was in college, so he couldn't really help anymore. So I turned 17. So then I got a trailer for the SUV. And at that point, it was just more referral based. People were just, hey, this is Jeff. He cuts my lawn, does a really great job. And then 5 turned to 6, 6 turned to 7. Then by the end of the second year, I had about 15 lawns that I was maintaining.
Wow. And what did that schedule look like with 15 lawns?
15 lawns, and I was 17. So 17, I believe I was a junior. I would go to school, and then I'd get home around like 2:30. And at that time, I could only do like 4 lawns in a day because I didn't have the proper equipment like I do now. Right now, we're equipped where we could do up to 30, 32 lawns a day. I would come home from school, and I'd cut 4 lawns, and I'd make $100 in a day working 4 hours of work at 17. That was really cool.
Referrals were how you accelerated your business at the start, and I'm sure they played a big role in growing the business throughout the business's life, and as referrals do for a lot of companies. What is the best way to get referrals, and how do you treat customers so that you can cultivate more referrals?
The best way to get referrals for myself back then and currently was just making sure that I did a great job and that the customer was satisfied, and I would treat everyone's property like it was my own house. And I'm very particular in how I do things. So just making sure that you treat every customer like they're your own or they're your family. And that's how I would get referrals then. And now I do offer a referral. Like if someone refers me to someone else, I would give them like a $25 discount.
So you were taking business classes at Rowan, and were you an entrepreneurship major?
I always was an entrepreneurship major, yes.
Okay, cool. How did learning about entrepreneurship in theory, after having some experience with entrepreneurship, change your approach to your business, and what kind of things did you learn that you could apply to your business?
I would get paid for it, but I didn't really know that, I got to pay for the gas. I got to pay for the weed whacker line. I got to pay for all these things, and I have to understand what my costs are to perform these services and these jobs for the customer. All the classes at Rowan taught me that we would do these exercises where you'd figure out what your costs are for a project or how to get more customers, and they were really helpful.
What came first, evolving the lawn care business's offerings into snow removal and whatnot, or hiring your first employee?
I'll answer them both. What came first was hiring my first employee. My first employee was actually my brother, Nick, who I referenced earlier, who helped me when I was unable to drive when I was 16. He ended up going to Rutgers, Camden, so he was local. I'd hire him to help me with, the 16 to 25 loans that I had in my third year. I hired him to help me, and he enjoyed it. He'd help me after class, and it was fun. And then I decided to go into other services. He also helped me on them, and I then began offering mulch services, leaf cleanup services, and bush trimming and hedge trimming, and all those services that naturally evolve after having a lawn care company. And I just went from there.
How did you gather or learn about how to progress the business and evolve it? Were you looking at competitors, or did you have a mentor, or did you just do some YouTubing and, figure out, or maybe talk to clients about what they need? How did you progress?
A lot of the progression back then was clients requesting services that I didn't currently offer, or did offer, but didn't have the proper equipment to fulfill their needs. So the biggest request was people wanted me to put down mulch for them. So I decided that this is something that people will want. So I decided to then find ways to purchase mulch at cheap prices and be able to install the mulch for them. And then someone wanted their bushes trimmed. So then I was like, oh, I can offer that service. And each service kind of just piggybacked off the next one, because every time I would be on a job site, be like, hey, can you do my mulch? Can you do my bushes? And hey, at the end of the season, can you rake my leaves? Sure.
And this was the first year that you offered snow removal, is that right?
Yes.
And we had a crazy winter in New Jersey, and Jeff and I were just talking about the DeVito lawn care schedule when it was snowing. So could you tell us about that?
The winter was pretty crazy. We ended up doing 6 storms total, and it was a crazy schedule. We would get up around 2 a.m. if it snowed overnight, and we'd work from 2 o'clock in the morning till around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we'd go home, take about a 2-hour rest, and then work till midnight.
Oh my goodness.
It was crazy. We had about 27 total properties that we'd move snow for, and every single snowstorm was different. There was light and fluffy snow, and then there was solid ice snow that it was nearly impossible to move once the snow went down. It was a real learning experience, and being able to understand that part of the industry and how it can be very profitable, but it can also be very difficult at the same time, because you have to meet customers' expectations, who has to leave for work, who's got people that need to park in the parking lot.
Yeah, and I can imagine, because the snow is only set for like a day before people want it off their property. You don't have much time to figure things out. It's not like you can plan for that for weeks. You're like on your toes and you're working hard. When was the time that you got your second employee? Was it once you started working for the commercial customer?
So my middle brother, Nick, he graduated from college and he went into the mortgage industry. My oldest brother, Joe, he at the time was a school teacher, and he's like, you know what? I don't want to be a school teacher anymore. I want to work for you. So I said, okay, I'll bring you on full time, and I'll put you on payroll, and we can get you set up full time. Nick left, Joe replaced Nick, so then I just had one employee. So about 2 years ago, I was getting really busy. I was now at around 70 lawns, and I was like, I need to bring on someone else. I looked around, and my girlfriend's cousin, he was 17 at the time, and he was looking for a job. So I brought him on part-time, just about 20, 25 hours a week, to just help with the lawn cutting schedule. And at that point, we were really busy with cleanups all year round. At that point, we would be doing cleanups every week, at least 1 or 2. So he was able to help alleviate some of that work for us, and having a third person was really crucial.
All right, so I was checking out your LinkedIn profile, and I saw Eric Ligori's fabulous recommendation of you and a couple of interesting things. You spent 54 hours going all in at a startup weekend. Now we know, because of your snow removal schedule, that you don't need much sleep, but 54 hours? That's crazy.
Yeah, it wasn't 54 hours all at once. We would go pretty early. Like, we went on like Friday night, we got there and we stayed there pretty late, probably till like 11 o'clock at night. Then the next morning we got there around like 8 o'clock, and we stayed till around 9 o'clock at night. And then same thing on Sunday morning. But it was a pretty cool event. It was called Startup Weekend, and it was done in Philadelphia at a shared workspace. It wasn't all students. We were students, but then there was just anyone could really sign up that had an entrepreneurial spirit. Whoever had a business or business idea, they'd write it on a board, and we would vote for which ones we wanted to work on. And the top 6 got selected, and then we all selected which company we wanted to work with for that weekend. And then for the remaining hours, we worked on that as a business, like as a startup. We would do research and development as quickly as we can. We'd go out and do surveys to the public, like, would you use the service? What issues do you have currently that you would like to fix? And it was a pretty cool experience to experience working on something, like pouring all your energy into one thing for a long period of time. It was pretty cool. It was a cool experience.
You've graduated, you're growing your business, both in residential and commercial spaces. what is on the table for DeVito's Lawn Care? Where do you see the company in the next few months and years?
That's a great question because last year we ended the year with around 100 properties that we maintain.
Wow.
And this year we have a little more than what we had last year, probably say 5%, 5 to 10% more than last year. But we're expanding our service offering this year, and my brother Joe, since he's a very important part of the business, I put him in charge of getting our certification for pesticide and fertilization with the state of New Jersey. So we are now a legally licensed company to offer fertilization and pesticide and weed control programs in the state of New Jersey. So what that means is we can offer services similar to True Green, Scott's, any local lawn fertilization or pesticide company. So that is a very, very good step for us. So currently this year we have signed up 44 customers, existing customers and new customers, to sign on for a fertilization / weed control, aeration and seeding, dethatching of someone's lawn, and making sure their lawn looks green and weed free throughout the season. And that's a big step for us because that allows us to offer more services to our existing customer base and get a lot more business than just having them cut their lawn or just cutting their lawn on like a leaf cleanup. Now we could do full service. We will do fertilization, weed control, cut your lawn, put mulch down, trim your bushes / shrubs, and do your leaves in the fall. So it allows us to offer every single thing so that we're the only lawn care landscaper person that's on your lawn.
Okay, my last question for you. How much of the success of this enterprise do you think has to do with the skills that you brought to it, and how much of it was just luck?
I would say that a little bit has to do with the luck element, because if my neighbor never went on vacation and never to my mom, I probably wouldn't have been doing what I am now. And then once I went to Rowan University, the education that they offered to me really allowed me and put me in front of the right people to ask questions about my industry and how to grow a business, not just my business, but how to grow a business, because at the end, all businesses have the same core, which is making sure that you do more revenue than you have expenses to generate a profit. And Rowan University and the people I met along the way really helped me succeed. And Dr. Ligori has done a great job with showing interest in helping students at Rowan University who want to start a business or create a business or anything that they have interest in.
It has been such a pleasure talking with you, Jeff. Thank you so much for your time today, and I hope to talk soon.
Thank you for listening. Rowan is proud to be an official knowledge hub of the International Council for Small Business. Our AACSB award-winning entrepreneurship programs challenge students to solve real problems in bold and impactful ways. If you're interested in supporting entrepreneurship at Rowan or want to get more involved by hiring an intern, speaking to a class, or being featured as a case study, contact us at rcie@rowan.edu.